don't like the title for this book. It's not a mystery about the town. It's a mystery about a haunted house. Don't name the mystery after the town. You know, you should only name the mystery after the town if it's a town-wide mystery. Like the mystery of why none of the parents here ever watch their own kids.
Argo Font Book Review, Argo Font Book Review.
This book was written by Ellen Miles, who later went on to write the Babysitter's Club mystery series. Also puppy books. Lots and lots of puppy books. Stacey has a fabulous weekend in New York, which consists of shopping and eating. Obviously, you can't shop or eat in other cities. Well, not as fantastic as it is in New York. She can't wait to brag about New York to her friends, but they're not paying attention. They're too busy talking about the old house on the street that's being demolished. What a bunch of hicks!
I couldn't believe how fascinated everyone was with the news about some dumb old house. I guess that's what happens when you live in Stoneybrook all your life. Anything seems exciting.
Wow, Stacey is a jerk. Do her friends know that she looks down on them because they're not from New York? Yes, of course they know. New York is the only thing Stacey ever talks about. The plot kid today is Charlotte Johansson. Her grandfather's having an operation, so her parents are letting her live at Stacey's house for the week. Stacey's excited, but Charlotte's pretty shy and nervous. Stacey tries to distract Charlotte with games, and the girls visit the old house. They see a lot of flies, and they hear some creepy noises coming from inside. Clearly, it's a haunted house. And that's our mystery today. Why do you hear weird sounds by the old house? Stacey says it's probably the old pipes, but it can't be that simple, can it? Spoiler alert, it is. Christy reads an old history book in her stepfather's library. She finds a faded map inside. The map is completely illegible, but she convinces herself that it says the entire town was built on ancient burial grounds. Ah! The house was built on the most sacred spot, so now it's double haunted! Ah! I don't want to be a spoil sport here, but this happened in the last few mystery books. How many times is this town going to be fake haunted? Later on in the book, Watson tells Chrissy that it's a map of the cemetery, so duh, of course it mentions burial grounds. Chrissy more or less responds by ignoring him. Charlotte gets sick with tonsillitis. Stacey takes her to the doctor's office, where she meets a hot guy. Charlotte refuses to take her medicine until Stacey explains about her diabetes and how she has to get shot with a needle every single day for the rest of her life. Charlotte immediately agrees to take her medicine after that. Claudia researches at the local library. Old property tax records indicate the house's owner is named Ronald Hennessy. Claudia thinks one of the library books says the house was built on sacred burial grounds, but she isn't really sure because it's a sentence with long words and she can't even spell the correctly. Of course, I can't pronounce Claudia correctly, so I can't judge. Charlotte and Stacey have another scare at the house when they see flames shooting out the window. Charlotte screams about a fire while Stacey runs to get water to put it out. By the time she gets to it, the fire's gone. It must be a ghost fire! Both Stacey and Charlotte have nightmares about the house, and Claudia says she feels a presence there. So we're upgrading this from real haunted house to super duper real haunted house. The girls visit Ronald Hennessy at a nursing home. He tells them a bunch of over-the-top ghost stories about the house, like the tale of Old Rubber Nose, the man whose nose was made out of rubber. Scary. In the end, it turns out the house isn't haunted. Mr. Hennessy was just messing around with them. And the spooky sounds, which were probably pipes? Yeah, those were pipes. The fire in the face at the window? That was a workman with a blowtorch, who was shooting the blowtorch out the window for no apparent reason. And he didn't do anything when he heard Charlotte screaming outside. He's not a very responsible workman, he isn't. And the group of flies? Those were bees. That only makes the house more scary in my opinion, but Christy and Stacey agree the house isn't haunted. They also agree not to tell their friends about it, because they're jerks who don't care if Claude, Charlotte, and Mallory have nightmares forever. But of course, we want a scary ending, right? So Mr. Hennessy dies that night, And when the house is knocked down the next day, Stacey sees him screaming in pain, burning amid flames. It's terrifying, and nobody else sees it. If I were Stacey, I'd be a little worried about that hallucination. The end. Post-book follow-up. I like this book, and I especially like the pretend sisters dynamic between Stacey and Charlotte. Charlotte continues to be one of the more interesting kids in the series. And it makes me sad that she isn't the focus of the Little Sister series. I would much rather read about her than Karen. Actually, it'd probably be best if the Little Sister series focused on a group of girls. You know, one book it's Karen, another book it's Charlotte, another it's Becca, another it's Claire, another it's Jeff, who's awkwardly lumped in with all the girls. I think a rotating set of narrators could have helped the series a lot, because all Karen all the time is overwhelming. The mystery aspect of this book was not as good, and yeah, I say that about every mystery book in this series, but there wasn't much of a mystery here. What has happened by the halfway point of the book? Stacey got scared by flies and sounds at an old house. That's all. It's not so much a mystery as it is the girls scaring themselves over nothing. At least the previous mystery had a crime and a culprit. So let's judge this as a ghost story, not as a mystery. It's a pretty good ghost story, with scary things happening and escalating action. The logical explanation at the end works fine, and Mr. Hennessy's silly stories were a good transition from serious ghost story to joke story, foreshadowing the book's resolution. Personally, I thought it was terrifying for Stacey to see a man burning alive, but it falls in line with the ghost story tradition of having an ending where maybe it was real the whole time. Overall, a good book, one that definitely fits in with the rest of the series. My main complaint is that it's marketed as a mystery when it's definitely a ghost story. I give Babysitters Club number 35, Stacey and the Mystery of Stoneybrook, an 8 out of 10.